Hi, I'm Linda. Well, our project, we didn't want to have a project, to be totally honest with you. I came home one day and our ice maker in our bar had leaked. And so, unfortunately, it ran into the family room and into the entrance hall. So our project was to replace our family room floor, our entrance hall, and our bar area and our bar countertop. We found out about Simmons, our insurance agent, when we called him and told him that we had had a little water damage. He said, I know a great guy that I can call for you and I'll send him over. So that's how we found out about Simmons. You know, we could have looked at different options, but when we met Scott, he came over here, he seemed like a really honest person. We had never had flood damage. We didn't know that did we need to make a claim or what have you. And he looked at it and he said, well, let me just do an inventory. And that kind of sold us right there, that he didn't say, oh yes, you have a lot of damage. He wanted to make sure that what he did was appropriate and needed to be done. I think that the project would have been really easy when Simmons came out and looked at the project. They gave us a time frame of how they were going to do things. He said they'd start at the bottom and work their way up. He had everything scheduled. So it would have been a real easy process, but unfortunately I picked out things that were not easy to come by. The crews that came in to work at our house were excellent. I was really impressed with how diligent they were. They showed up on time. It was obvious they took pride in their work. They cleaned as they worked, and they cleaned when they got through. One crew in particular, the floor crew, I was so impressed with them. They started putting in the wood floor and they realized there was a problem. They stopped immediately. They made phone calls to their bosses. And I guess what impressed me most about that is they could have just wanted to get the job done and put the floor down, but they took pride in their work. So they stopped because they didn't want to have an inferior project. Simmons had many resources for us to use. Scott even said that he would go with us to look for flooring and look for marble, look for granite. We decided what we wanted and we ordered it. And unfortunately, I don't know if it was due to COVID, the economy, what have you, it took some time for our floor to come in. While we were waiting for it, Simmons kept in touch with us. They told us the status of when they thought the floor would be in. When the floor did come in, the crew was laying it, and unfortunately, it was a defective project. Immediately, Scott came over and looked at it, got in touch with the manufacturer, and he wanted it right. He had several different project managers come over, and he came over and they checked it. They reordered the floor because he wanted to satisfied. I find that Simmons is a company that they wouldn't put something in your house that they wouldn't have in their own. He stood behind his work. He wanted it to be quality, and it turned out that it is. I would recommend Simmons if you want a job done and you want it well done with a crew that comes in and knows what they're doing and takes pride in their work. I would call Simmons. I think that customer satisfaction is at the top of their list.